kind of weird aversions to teeth, but I definitely do. I used to have these weird dreams, these nightmares where that involved teeth, and it was mainly like I would use, I don't know why this was happening in the dream, but it was like I would take a metal fork or a metal spoon and I would bite down on it in a way that it would start prying at my teeth and they would chip out like they were, you know, bits of candy or bits of sugar, and except, you know, bone. And ever since I started having those dreams, it's given me the severe aversion to seeing things happen to teeth on like television and movies and whatnot. So this is actually a perfect time to be really squicked out by them. Now, thankfully, I've honestly never had any really bad experiences with teeth other than having some, you know, sensitivity to cold. But I'm really happy that I know I have just enough wherewithal to be grossed out by them, but not so much that I can't deal with them. It's kind of the same with the gore on, oh, those look great. With the gore on the Death Guard. I don't deal well with internal organs and viscera. I've always been kind of squeamish, but I feel like the Death Guard hit just the right note, and they've always hit just the right note, where they're disgusting, but in a way that I think is really freaking cool. And actually, because I wasn't playing the army and I wasn't having too much fun with it, I actually just recently sold a bunch of my Death Guard and used it to buy other things. But I'll be completely honest, I kind of want to have Death Guard again. I sold a combat patrol because I didn't like the paint job I had done to it. And the person paid me retail because he's in Singapore, and they were completely painted, so he was willing to pay the extra money. And I used that money to buy another Death Guard combat patrol that I'm going to paint considerably better. But seeing all the models, all the sprues just ready to go and ready to be painted, it was like, man, I wish I had my Death Guard back. So eventually, I'm going to buy more Death Guard, and I'm making it a goal to try and get to 1,000 points with as many factions as possible, because I feel like 1,000-point game is just enough for fun, and not so overwhelming that you end up spending an entire evening or an entire afternoon there, trying to slog through the game. And I know that some people have opinions on 10th edition that are very negative because they're not enjoying it, and that's absolutely fair. But I'm enjoying 10th edition at 1,000 points. Any more than that, and it just becomes too much. At least that's what it feels like. And actually, Aria, I think that's what a friend of mine started up, a 40k narrative crusade campaign we've been playing on Tabletop Simulator. Vanguard Invasion Nids are so fun so far. I bet that feels good. Oh, speaking of, I don't remember if the last time we talked or you saw what mine looked like, because I remember I showed you a little bit. I had started painting up my Leviathan Tyranids so that they resembled Phyrexians from the newest Magic the Gathering set at the time that involved Phyrexians. And next mission you're going to do at 1,250 points. That feels like a really good balance area. 2,000 points has just become overwhelming. I can't do 2,000 points. I actually missed out on the chance to do a 1,000 point tournament this weekend because I waited too long to sign up. But it was capped at 1,000 points, and they also capped it at no individual model having more than 14 wounds. And I thought that was interesting, for one. But a huge reason why is that this is their first official Warhammer tournament at this store, who's trying to break into Warhammer. And I was like, that feels good. I want to try and do this. And I was hemming and hawing about it, and by the time I actually went to sign up today, they were already full. They're actually asking anyone who's participating in the tournament to bring more terrain because they don't have enough, because of how positive the reception has been. Next mission is going to be... I wrecked some Imperial Guard with 750 points last mission. I felt kind of bad, but everyone had fun, so that's good. That's kind of the important part, especially since it's a narrative crusade, right? Losses don't mean your army's worse. It just means that for that mission, the story progressed in a way to make it, like, more... it's going to be more fun if your army manages to pull it off from behind, right? And I want to do that. I want to do a narrative crusade. Probably not on Tabletop Simulator, though, just because I want to play with my actual plastic models. Like, a huge thing, depends on which faction you play. 2K Marines isn't a lot. Yeah, my 10-model squad of Hormies charged like a wrecking ball, set things flying. Fantastic. I bet that felt good. Yeah, 10 or 2,000 points of Marines isn't a huge number. And actually, that's a level that I'm fine at playing at. I really wish that I could take exactly 2,000 points of Marines and still have fun. But unfortunately, a lot of my friends play lists that are a lot more Horde-like. And so they get overwhelmed with having that much. And like I said, the one soft servo, he just changed factions, and so he doesn't exactly have 2,000 points of Imperial Knights yet, so we can't do a game like that. Though I have a feeling once he does get the Knight Dominus and some more War Dogs or something, he's going to be very excited to give it a shot at that scale. So you're definitely not wrong. 2,000 points may not be a whole lot depending on what army you're playing. Okay, I think that'll work for now. Get that a little bit more. Yeah, just give that a little bit more. Knock all the moisture out of that, Jesus. That should be good. Wow, that color match isn't terrible. Yeah, 10 model squad of Hormies is Hormagons, I'm assuming. Those are the melee focused infantry, I believe. And yeah, those things do a lot of heavy lifting. Okay. Next thing I want to do is do some dry brushing of the metal bits. For the most part, I feel like this guy is done, except for putting a wash on his boots to kind of dull that down, and then hitting a lot of these metal bits with a metallic wash, and probably getting some brown on that leather. That seems like a good idea. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. First, I like the idea of a red I-beam. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the I-beam's power sword that he's got with a little bit of red, and then I'm going to go back over it with a not red color, a metallic color. And hopefully all of that will look real nice when it's all combined. So let's see, where are we? Yeah, there's where we are. Yeah, no, I want to get more games in with my Imperial Fists. I actually haven't gotten to play them a whole lot, simply because I don't have a whole lot of space and time for my friends to play 40k with me. And the most thing I've been doing is Combat Patrol with the Tabletop Gaming Club that I help run. And we're using, so I had like 3 Combat Patrols when we started. And now I think I'm up to 5 because I've brought along some unfinished Combat Patrols and some other ones that I've just kind of removed from my army roster. So that's becoming more of a thing, but that means I'm playing a lot of Combat Patrol, which has a much more limited scope to it, you know? And while it has been fun, and it has helped me internalize kind of the steps of the orders of operation, TTS is the only way I can play right now, but it's scratching that itch very well. Yeah, I can definitely see that, because the act of having to, like, get all your army together and set it up, and then play the game, and then tear it down, that's a lot of extra work that people may or may not want to do, or may not have the time for. So I'm not trying to dog text-to-speech, dear God, Tabletop Simulator at all. I think it's been a fantastic way for people to play games with people they otherwise wouldn't be able to play. It's just, it's not my bag. I don't have any interest in doing it personally. So I'm glad that it's helping other people do things they otherwise can't do. Okay, so now that is an appropriate amount of red, yeah, also finding someone to play locally. That's the worst part, is Warhammer is just popular enough that there are people to play with, and just niche enough that finding those people in a local area is always kind of a challenge. Okay. Next, we're gonna hit it with some chain or some gunmetal, I guess it's called. And then I'm probably gonna go over that. I've got 2,000 points of Votan, but I've got an itch to get Craft World. Yeah, I keep having to fight the urge to play or to get some Eldar. I just think they're heckin' neato. There we go. That's the metallic I was looking for. Get it a little bit everywhere. Get it a little bit everywhere. And then we're actually going to knock some of this down with some of the bronze I've got, I believe. And that should do a good job of that. And actually, while I've got it out, you love Craft World. There's a pretty good local community, but I fell out of the loop after a breakup. That's completely understandable. You started in 8th after I got burnt on Nids in 7th. That's completely fair. Yeah, I got to play against your Craft World. They're kind of nasty. I liked your setup with the bikes and the Ghost Warriors. I don't remember what anything's called because I don't play Craft World. But it was definitely a lot of fun starting the Tyranids again, right? Well, you know, nothing says you can't. That's the beauty of this game. If you decide, nope, I don't like it, you can always come back to it. Okay, so let's get a little bit more of that shoulder armor. Oh, that really brings a lot to the model. I'm very much digging this. There we go. Can I hit in there, or is that going to be a problem? That is not going to be a problem. It's going to look great. Thank you. I keep saying text-to-speech because that's where I'm used to seeing the acronym from the Warhammer parody show. Thank you, Tabletop Simulator, for letting me play with models I can't afford yet. Yeah, exactly. That's another great thing about Tabletop Simulator, is it definitely does that. Now, in my case, I've got to be that guy because I am essentially one of the vegans of the Warhammer community. 3D printer go burr. I actually hate that phrase because it's just so smug. But yeah, having that 3D printer has made things wonderful. Speaking of, we still need to talk about whether or not you need something commissioned from me, don't we? Oh yeah, I forgot there was a cost analysis involved there because of the medical bills. Don't worry, your 3D printer is going burr right now. Absolutely fair. Mine is not. Mine is right now just kind of chilling because I have such a huge painting log that I don't want to start anything new and get even more intimidated by the mass. Well, just remember, Arya, that it is there for your use. Just whenever you're ready, just hit me up and let me know. I personally don't have a whole lot of qualms about what's being printed. Oh, speaking of, one of the things I managed to buy recently, it was the last thing I spent a lot of money on because I really felt like I needed it, was I bought a diamond tip extruder nozzle for my my filament 3D printer, and it was a good purchase. Most extruder nozzles are made out of copper or some kind of I don't want to say inferior metal, but less durable metal. And so what ends up happening is they eventually get crap all over them, and they eventually kind of get... You were so close to getting a Bamboo Labs FDM printer on Black Friday and decided to pass on it. Yeah, I wish I had money for Black Friday. I haven't had much money for anything, so I can understand the desire. But yeah, I bought one of the diamond tip ones that make it so that you can really go ham with your 3D printing. And so that's what I've been doing. And I got to print a couple of things with it, and they came out stunningly beautiful as far as I was concerned. So, especially with the cost of filament being so cheap, I feel a whole lot more confident about 3D printing certain things. Because for a while, it was just like, I don't want to have to go through troubleshooting all these failures. And now it's just like, I don't care anymore. The amount of the amount of print failure on this thing has been considerably less frustrating. So I'll be good to go whenever you are good to go. Okay, let's get a little bit of that on there. Let's get a little bit. I'm not even on camera, am I? Yeah, that is the worst part about this hobby, is it's even getting into the cost-saving benefits or attempts to do this hobby are expensive, because there's just that steep, you know, barrier of entry. Okay, how's he looking? You think he's looking appropriately chaosified now that he's got all this horrible shit sticking out of him? And it's been colored appropriately? My brother was talking about his Riviera vehicle he bought, a car valued at nearly 100K. You'd think he'd help out a little bit, but that's just me. Okay, go ahead and get most of the metallic out of that. Model looks really good, thank you. He's being artificially brightened because the lights on him are definitely making him look a lot brighter than he is. He's a little more dulled down. Hopefully some of the stuff I did is still pops through enough and is going to make the person really happy. But oh yeah, I need to Nuln Oil his boots. I'd rather not ask them for anything because I'd never hear the end of it. Now see, I understand that entirely, because it really sucks being the person to be like, hey, I need help with XYZ, but I also kind of feel like maybe just because you're family, I will do it for you without you asking. I went down because my parents offered to pay for my flight. And see, that's fair, right? And I think that that's absolutely fair, and I hope that they aren't expecting any kind of, like, blood debt because of that. But I don't know, it doesn't really help that I'm not particularly good with money, but I also feel like you shouldn't have to ask, you know what I mean? If family knows you're in a situation where you don't have the means and they do, then they should just offer and not expect anything back. But that's entirely me. I don't want to start preaching how people's families should behave, because clearly I'm not a master at that thing. I am a mini painter that looks like a potato. So yeah, you're right. It really is what it is, and me talking about it's not going to make it any better or worse. What is going to happen though is, my God, is he gross looking. I kind of went the other way with him. I wanted to make him look kind of pasty and like bluish, but instead he just looks completely mottled, and I really dig it. I like this one a lot. Oh yeah, I need to paint his leather belt strap across his chest. So I'm pretty jazzed with how this guy turned out. Mix some black with some brown. Get like a really dark tone brown that I can then work up from. Which I know doesn't look a whole lot different than the current one right now, but trust me, it will. I actually gave you some ideas to how to do some skin on your Tyranids. Well, just so you know, this is like 8 layers of wash and fuck up. I don't know how else to say it. I used Vallejo Rose Brown initially, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna look good. It's gonna have this like purpley pallid tone over it, and that's gonna make it look great. And then it didn't. And then someone suggested I use Nuln Oil yesterday, and I was like, okay, I'll put some Nuln Oil over it. And then I just left it to dry, and it looked kind of awful because it had these weird coffee stainy bits on it. So what I ended up doing with him was I ended up using some khaki to kind of highlight, or some more of the rose brown to kind of highlight different bits on him, and then I hit it again with Reikland Flesh Shade. So yeah, no mistakes, just happy accidents. I figured if I futz around with him enough, he'll eventually look good. But yeah, so he's like 4 or 5 different layers of shading gone wrong with a Reikland Flesh Shade over him. And so, pretty happy with how he turned out. He looks appropriately diseased and disgusting. Oh, there's more teeth forming on his shirt, or on his chest. Yeah, that's gonna look fantastic. Okay. Now let's go up a little bit from that khaki brown I just made into more of just the khaki. Okay, so a little more right here, a little more right there. I'm glad I'm inspiring you guys to do more gross, horrifying things with your dudes. With your little army men. That's the dream. Okay. And yet, washes in general do enough for skin. I'm trying to get away from that, though, because even though I don't think this is ever going to happen, I want to get to the level where I'm like a display level painter. Where I'm one of those guys that they'll put in a shop and be like, wow, that's an amazing job. And I know I'm not there yet, but I'm trying. It's one of those, you know, aim for the stars so you can touch the moon type things. What else needs to be done? Kind of like that they gave him his little weenus wrinkles there. I think that's pretty funny. I'm all about painting nasty stuff. I love the scheme I found for my nids. Only have 20 Termagants and 2 Ripper Swarms painted, but I'm feeling them. That's the best. When you find a pattern that you really like, and you're just like, yes, I know how the rest of it's going to go. Okay, I'm going to give him another... Actually, no. I'm not going to give him a Nuln Oil wash. I'm going to give him a goofy-looking glaze. So we've got a little bit of the... we've got a lot of the black that's not just been watered down horrendously. And we're going to mix that in with a little bit of pale sand. And we're going to add some more water because I want this to be the runniest that I can. And now I'm going to take some of that and we're going to glaze that on all over, which will hopefully knock down the brightness even more because I made a mistake and I made his boot shine way too bright to the point where it stands out. And see, I think one of the things I need to learn is patience, because I don't have a lot of patience when it comes to some of these techniques. And so I kind of speed through them. But I'm getting to a point where I feel like I'm learning enough about layering to make it look good. Okay, a little bit more on top of there. A little bit on there. It's the name of some very old women. Okay, so there we go. Now I've knocked down the shine on his boots enough. Again, the video is definitely very bright and is showing this off way too bright. He's not this bright in real life. But I think that's a good place to stop. No, can't stop yet. I keep forgetting. I'm working on the belt on his chest. So let's go ahead, hit that with a little bit more of the light brown to give the idea that there's some highlighting going on. And then after that, I thought I was going to get to the next guy, but it's 6:01. And what that means for me is that I need to go have dinner soon. Because I have to eat dinner with my wife. Now, I will say something that I think is kind of funny is because I have talked up my my trash bag turkey so much. I had a student last year who was very intrigued, and he made me promise that this year, if he comes back and pesters me about it, I'll bring some of it to work with me. And he has kept to his word. He has pestered the crap out of me this year, starting when November started, to remind me about the trash bag turkey. So I suppose I owe him some trash bag turkey, which I will be giving to him probably tomorrow when I see him next. Okay, so now the leather has a little bit of... just a little bit of wear on it, a little bit scratched up. And that's going to be fine for that guy. Eventually I will go back and do the bases, but I kind of want to finish all the models first. Oh! The power thingy. You're going to be right back for a few minutes, have a good dinner? Well, thank you, I appreciate it. I forgot to do the power thingy. So now, I need to switch over to a completely different set of paints. Gonna need some red. Gonna need some pink. Gonna need some white. I might still be here when you get back, because I need to do his little power nodes. Thankfully, this is a very easy job. Actually, no, I don't even need the pink. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight from red up to white. And we're going to see if this works out, because one of the things that I struggle with most is the glazing aspect of this paint technique thingy that I'm trying to learn. So what's going to happen first is we're going to get some water. We're going to mix it in with the red to get the red down to a really thin consistency. And then I'm going to cry, because this is always tough. first, we're just going to glaze over all of that. And actually, we're going to go the opposite way with it. I don't know if you can see. I'm on the wrong way. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to go over the opposite a little bit so that I can take some of this red and pull it back towards the power node. I'm going to go a little further than I should so that when it dries, it's going to spread out from there. And the idea is I want to have the darkest color furthest out to reflect the lights, to act like it's being a light source. And then, as we work further back towards the power node, it will get lighter as it gets closer to the power source. That is my understanding of how to do object source lighting. So that is what I'm going to try and do right now. And you can see already with just a little mixture of white added in, now our power source, our power rod, is definitely brighter. So I'm going to do it again. And we're going to do it on this one. I'm going to go ahead and hit that. There we go, a little bit brighter. And now here's where I'm doing this wrong. I really should have just grabbed a pink or an orange rather than adding more white, because all the white is doing is desaturating the red, which may not be the look you want to go for. You may have wanted a very vibrant, powerful color happening in here, as opposed to what I have going on. And I'll be honest, I'm not very happy with how this looks right now. So what might end up happening is I might go back over it with a red, and hopefully the red will be watered down enough that it doesn't completely cover the white, it just kind of influences it. You know what I mean? So now, I'm going to go back over you with a red. Oh yes, that's doing exactly what I want it to do. That's doing exactly what I want it to do. Same thing over here. Just give it a little hint of color, right? And now we can go back to the white, add it back into the red, to really try and bring up that brightness. And now all I'm going to do is on the power node itself, hit that with just a smidge of the white. And now go back to a pure white and do kind of the same thing. Kind of the same thing. And there we go. That's a little bit closer to what I want. Because now it kind of looks like the power node is glowing inside the sword, right? It's not a great job, but it's not one that they're going to see much of. I also forgot to do the cable. Because this is not a metal cable. This is just a cable. So let's go ahead, hit the cable with some black. Hit it again with some black. And there we kind of go. And now I can say, this guy is done. I am done working on him. I think he looks fantastic. Look at this ugly dude. This is not something I would want to see at the other side of the table. Pretty happy with how this guy turned out. Heck yeah. Okay. I want to put Nuln Oil on his shoulders and metal. I'm going to put some Nuln Oil on his shoulders and on the metal. I cannot make up my mind. And this is unfortunately where I create problems. I just keep on adding details even though they may not be needed, because I keep seeing things that are like, oh, you know what would be cool? How about X, Y, or Z? Let's just keep adding X, Y, or Z to the model. Now in this case, thankfully, Nuln Oil is a very simple add. It's just going to create some depth in places where there aren't depth by adding shadows, and we will be all good. Let's go ahead and get it on here and make everything look dirty. Add some more shadow depth to this giant chaos bitty bob that he added to himself. Get some on here. Get some on the shoulder. Just get it to pool around the spikes so that the spikes look like they have a little bit more depth. Get some on that. On here. Oh, this is invisible. I keep doing that. I had to change the orientation of my camera so that I could plug it in directly into my computer instead of using like a wireless signal to broadcast, because I think that's what the problem was, which has never been a problem before, but it's still pretty darn annoying. Now, all of this is getting that wash that it so desperately needed. Same with you. This thing's okay though. And there he goes. No need to highlight because it was all metallic, so it'll continue shining. There we go. Now I think I can say he's done. So this is how this guy is gonna look. And hopefully, actually, I'm gonna be back in less than an hour. My wife has a D&D, so that means I'll be back soon. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up my mess, and then go up and have dinner with the wife, and then I'll probably be back around 7. It is 10 after 6 right now, but we'll see. I may not be back, who knows? It might be a case where I might be wrong and they've canceled game for tonight because someone was not feeling great, and if that's the case, then I'm going to hang out with my wife for the evening. But hopefully that was enjoyable for you guys to watch or chill or vibe with. I don't know. Hopefully you got some inspiration or learned something cool. The next one I'm doing couldn't be more different, and that's what makes me excited. That's what makes me happy. And I think, like I said, depending on how the night goes, you guys might get to see it get started. Because obviously, yeah, I'm glad you got to stop in too. I enjoy seeing you guys pop in. The next one is going to be a fun one, because like we said, we saw this guy. Ooh, ugly, yeah, nasty, yeah, cool. The next guy isn't the guy at all. It's the final model of the group. It is an Escher Gang leader, and I think she is so freaking cool. I love the Escher Gang. I can't wait to paint this one, and oh my goodness, that hair is just absolutely amazing. I love that hair. So this is what I'm going to be working on when I come back. So I will see you guys later. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. If I end up back online, then cool, I guess I'll see you then. If I don't, then I will see you possibly tomorrow. Have a good one, and good night. Bye-bye for now.